welcome back to another episode of Chronicles of War. I'm Alex, and today we're going to go over a story that's one of my favorite events that happens during World War II. This also is going to be slightly different than the majority of my previous episodes in the fact that this episode doesn't actually focus on a battle, so to speak. It doesn't focus on any fighting necessarily at all, which is the opposite of any of the other episodes I've previously done for the most part, or most of the future ones as well. But yeah, no, this is one of my favorite events during World War II. Well, one of them anyway. I'm not biased in it anyway because it happened on what would later become my birth date, but I digress. But anyway, this is the story of Ewald Pub. So, Ewald Pub is a B-17 bomber. So, now let's get on to this. So, December 20th, 1943. Got a mission going on. So, the pilot of Ewald Pub, Second Lieutenant Charlie Brown. No, I'm not making this up. Dude's name's Charlie Brown. Not from Peanuts or whatnot. No. It turns out although Snoopy may not have been the fire pilot, it turns out Charlie Brown was this entire time. But anyway, he's a B-17 pilot. Anyway, Charlie Brown, he's a B-17 pilot in the 527th Bombardment Squadron, which is part of the 379th Bombardment Group, which is part of the United States Army Air Force's 8th Bomber Command. Now, I say that because at this current point in time, there's no Air Force. The Air Force isn't created, and the actual Air Force isn't created until after World War II. So that's why it's the Army Air Force here instead of the Air Force, because there is no Air Force. Anyway, their target is some Focke-Wulf 190 production facility in Bremen. The 190 is a German fighter plane, so this is a really crucial target for them to hit because they can slow down the production of fighters, which means less fighters to be able to shoot down bombers, meaning their future bombing runs can be more successful. Anyway, here's the rest of Ewald Pub's crew for it. Like I mentioned, Second Lieutenant Charlie Brown, he's the pilot. Our co-pilot is Second Lieutenant Spencer Pinky Luke. The navigator is Second Lieutenant Albert Doc Sadok. The radio operator / bombardier is Second Lieutenant Robert Andy Andrews. Top turret gunner / flight engineer is Sergeant Bertrand Frenchy Colum. Radio operator is Sergeant Richard Dick Petchout. Tail gunner is Sergeant Hugh Eckenrode. Left waist gunner is Sergeant Lloyd Jennings. Right waist gunner is Sergeant Alex Russian Yelensenko. And the ball turret gunner is Samuel Blackie Blackford. Now, so they get to Bremen and they begin their 10-minute bombing run at 37,300 feet or 8,320 meters. And while they're at that height, it is negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 60 degrees Celsius. Now that's cold. 'Cause, I think the coldest temperature I've ever been around was including wind chill, was negative 40. So, and I wasn't going outdoors for that. I did not go outside when that happened. So, needless to say, that's very cold. But Anyways, they're on this bombing run. They get hit by flak or anti-aircraft fire. And so the B-17 has 4 total engines, and engine number 2 gets knocked out, gets completely knocked out, and engine number 4 is damaged. Now, because of this, they're not going as fast, so they fall behind the rest of the bomber formation. Now that they've fallen back, though, they become perfect target for German fighters. So that's exactly what happens. Over a dozen fighters come and attack them. The third engine is damaged and is now running at half power. Um, the oxygen systems are damaged, which is very much so not good when they're that high up. Um, Several of their guns have jammed because they've frozen over. Um, Actually, in fact, there was 11 total guns on the on Yield Pub. There was 11 total. 3 of them are working, currently still working at that time. Um, Also, several of the crew members have been wounded. To start off with, Eckenrode and this has been killed because he was the tail gunner. So the planes would have come up right behind them, come up at a Yield Pub from behind, because there are it's harder for them to be hit from the back because there's only that tail gunner, as compared to coming from the front where there's several guns that can attack from the front. So Eckenrode has been killed. Yelensko has a critical leg wound from shrapnel. Um, Blackford's feet have frozen because of how high they are and the damage to the plane. Peshout has been hit in the eye, and Brown's been hit in the left shoulder. Now, add on to that, their morphine supply, it's completely frozen. Their radio's destroyed, and a lot of some of these problems is because the bomber exterior has been heavily damaged. Like, there is actively massive holes in the plane. The crew consider bailing out of the plane because of how damaged it is. However, they realize that Yelensko can't land safely due to his injury, and they're refusing to leave him behind, so they stay on the plane. Now, as they're attempting to limp their way back to Allied airspace and Allied territory to get back to base and try to land the plane, they get spotted by Germans on the ground. So, a pilot by the name of Franz Steigler, who is an ace at this point, he's an ace pilot. He takes off in his Messerschmitt Bf 109 G6, again another German fighter, and this is where we get to what makes this my favorite part of the story, and why I like this story so much. Now, absolutely, like, per typical procedure in this situation would be for Steigler to shoot down this bomber. However, through the heavily damaged exterior, Steigler is able to see the injured crew members of Yield Pub. So he instead chooses not to open fire on them. He tries to signal to Brown to land at a German airfield and surrender, or to fly to Sweden because Sweden's neutral. But Brown and the crew don't understand him. So Steigler flies alongside alongside Yield Pub in close formation. This being to prevent German anti-aircraft guns on the ground from firing on them, because Steigler being there from below, you are seeing only the undersides of the planes, so they're seeing the German cross on the other side of Steigler's plane. So they're like, oh, it's German, so no need, can't shoot it down. German. Maybe we captured an Allied plane. Maybe who knows. Um, anyway, he Stigler escorts Ewald Pub all the way out to open water. Now, once they're out of German airspace, Stigler gives a salute and then turns around. And Brown flies a total of 250 miles back to the base he took off from in England. That's also 250 miles is also 400 kilometers, by the way. For anyone who actually knows what a kilometer is, because I sure don't. But normally this would be where the story ends. However, it doesn't. Gonna fast forward just a tiny bit here by about 40 years. A bit more than that, actually. More so 43. It's 1986. I think that's 43 years. I don't know. I'm bad at math. Anyway, yeah. 1986. Brown is asked to speak at a combat pilot reunion. He's asked if he has any memorable missions from World War II. So he proceeds to tell this story about how a German pilot spared him and his crew when their bomber was heavily damaged and they were trying to make their way back to their base. So after this, he decides he wants to try to find who the pilot was that helped him and his crew. So he spends 4 years looking through records, both American and German. He can't find anything. He ends up writing a letter to a Combat Association newsletter about this. And then a couple of months later, he gets a letter from Stigler, who's living in Canada now. They call, and Brown's able to confirm that, yes, this is the pilot who helped me and my crew. So they end up becoming close friends, and they stayed close friends until they both died within months of each other in 2008. And that's the story of Ewald Pub. And shows how, just because people are on opposing sides doesn't mean they had to be fighting each other. So yeah, story of Ewald Pub. Before we get on to end stuff, got an announcement, a short announcement. I don't know if I will be uploading the next episode on schedule, in 2 weeks, because since I record these in a podcast studio here on campus, we're actually getting an updated podcast studio which is going to be, because we just got the equipment as I'm recording this yesterday, and I'm recording this a week in advance. So for when this episode gets uploaded, it'll have been a week ago, because stuff is going to start getting moved out today that I'm recording this. So, and I don't know how long it's going to take to get stuff all back set up. So it could, but I might potentially not be on schedule for the next one will be 2 weeks from this one being uploaded. So just want to let you know, but it might be, I don't know. And the way you can easily find out is follow on Twitter. Follow the official Chronicles of War Twitter account, where I post updates and post the links to episodes when they come out, or I try to, because last episode I kind of forgot to post it the day it came. I uploaded it, but oh well. But anyway, yeah, it's the official Chronicles of War Twitter account. It's at capital C Chronicles capital OFF 44. And like I say, I post updates occasionally, and upload post the links to episodes when they come out. Um, Also on here, you can, on my pinned comment, you can post on the pinned comment. Yeah, you can post topics you want me to cover. Like, for example, say you want me to cover this specific event that I haven't mentioned before. If when I'm doing my research for it, I can get a long enough episode out of it. Actually, yeah, if I can get over a page of notes on it, um, because that's basically my minimum requirement for episodes is to just be able to get a page of notes out of it on a Google Doc. I just get a page. If I can get a page of notes on it, I'll do an episode. I can maybe do an episode on it. If it's less than a page of notes, but there are several requests that are similar enough to each other but short, I can possibly put them together. So yeah, please do that because I really do need a lot of it. I do need a bunch of episodes because I have where because I have some of my stuff planned out. However, I have a far in the future episode planned, and that's a 24, and this one is episode 10. So, as you can see, I need quite a few episodes to fill in that gap. So, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to listen, and make sure you catch you in the next episode, whenever that is, and whatever that will be about. So yeah, until then, if this is the first episode you're listening to, check out some of the other ones. Or if this isn't the first episode you're listening to, but you haven't listened to some of the other ones, go ahead and listen to them. For you, it's Alex, and signing off for this week.